Hello and welcome to the channel. Be sure to share, like, and comment down below. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button for daily videos on news and politics. Hannity warns Senate has released Memo 2.0, exposing deep state corruption. You should be scared. In a Fox News op-ed, Tuesday, media icon Sean Hannity expanded on his explosive Monday night monologue, warning the Senate Judiciary Committee's second memo exposing deep state corruption should scare the American people.
All right, we start tonight with breaking news. There is a second memo exposing deep state corruption. Now, Senators Chuck Grassley and Lindsey Graham have released a heavily redacted yet very revealing copy of their criminal referral against Christopher Steele. Now, these revelations are beyond stunning and continue to prove the Clinton campaign and the Obama administration were working together to target the Trump campaign. Here are the findings from this new memo. This is just released today, not the old memo on Friday. We got to keep up here. Now, Senators Grassley and Graham write this, that while working on a second dossier, Steele was being fed information from the Obama State Department and from Clinton allies. The memo then reads and goes on, quote, one memorandum by Mr. Steele that was not published by BuzzFeed is dated October 19, 2016. The report alleges redacted, as well as redacted. Mr. Steele's memorandum states that his company received this report from redacted U.S. State Department, and that the report was the second in a series, and that the report was information that came from a foreign subsource who is in touch with a contact of redacted, a friend of the Clintons who passed it to redacted. And it's troubling enough that the Clinton campaign funded Mr. Steele's work, but that these Clinton associates were contemporaneously feeding Mr. Steele's allegations. It raises huge additional concerns about his credibility. Now, let me slow down here. In addition to Hillary Clinton buying and paying a bought and paid for $12+ million phony fake news Russian propaganda dossier to influence the election, if that's not bad enough, you have now Clinton associates and the Obama State Department funneling allegations for a second dossier to Christopher Steele. Now, watch this second part in terms of the new memo that came out today. Now, on the face of the dossier, it appears that Mr. Steele gathered much of his information, let's do this really slow, from Russian government sources inside of Russia. And according to the law firm Perkins Coie, Mr. Steele's dossier-related efforts were funded through Fusion GPS by that law firm on behalf of the Democratic National Committee and the Clinton campaign. So the senators are saying that Steele was using Russian sources to help them smear then candidate and later on incoming President Donald Trump. And the second memo is also accusing Christopher Steele of lying to either the FBI or to the British courts. They write, quote, there is substantial evidence suggesting that Mr. Steele materially misled the FBI about a key aspect of his dossier efforts, one which bears on his credibility. As if we didn't know. Now, this new memo out tonight also details how Christopher Steele was briefing several mainstream media outlets, fake news outlets, in the summer and the fall of 2016 about his first fake news dossier. Now, according to the British court records, Steele briefed, the New York Times, the Washington Post, Yahoo News, the New Yorker, and, of course, the old network fake news CNN at the end of September 2016 about the dossier that we know is full of lies. So Steele was feeding the Destroy Trump media lies directly from Russia. And we also know from Fusion GPS co-founder Glenn Simpson and his congressional testimony that the Clinton campaign and the DNC were aware that his company was contacting media outlets about the dossier. They're all working together. So let me repeat. Tonight, we now have two memos, one from Friday and one from tonight, and now news of a second. We'll call it a dossier. Now, as we told you on Friday, this new information, I told you Friday, it's only 15%. It's only the tip of the iceberg. Now, according to reports, the House Intelligence Committee Chairman, Devin Nunes, well, he could release more reports, as many as 4. We'll ask him tonight. He will join us exclusively on this program, responding to the new memo that is out. And Senator Chuck Grassley and Senator Graham, they're trying to get more of what's in their memo declassified. They're asking the FBI for an emergency review of the criminal referral. And also brand new tonight on Hannity, the House Intelligence Committee did vote to release the Democrats' counter memo to the public. And sources have been telling us tonight that Congressman Adam Schiff, the Democratic ranking member in the House Intelligence Committee, he is outright lying to the American people about what is in the Democrats' counter to the Nunes memo. Gets confusing, but it makes sense. Now, Schiff also appears to be leaking classified information. Let's watch this.
It is relevant information to alert the FISA court. Is there a political motivation? Was there a political actor involved? And the court was notified a political actor was involved, and that's part of the misleading nature of the FISA application. In terms of the identity of the political actor, the most important information for the court is what did Christopher Steele know? And Glenn Simpson has testified that Christopher Steele was not told the identity of the lawyer or the party behind the lawyer. That's the most important information evaluating Christopher Steele's bias.
Hey, Adam, did you tell the court, was the court told that this was bought and paid for by the Clintons and the DNC? That's why Schiff is wrong on so many different levels. Now, sources are telling us tonight that contrary to whatever fiction Schiff is peddling, the FISA court was lied to. They were never told when the FBI was getting and then renewing this warrant to spy on former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page. Those same sources are telling us tonight that Schiff's claim about the court being informed that the dossier was politically tainted, it is a minor footnote. It never mentions that Hillary and her campaign and the DNC paid for it. Oh, a pretty important omission, don't you think? And we can also report tonight, according to our sources who have seen this Democratic memo, that nothing in the memo actually refutes any of the facts that were presented in the House GOP intel memo, which, by the way, we told you on Friday. And the FBI said there's nothing factually inaccurate about it. So here's what the left and your corrupt media won't tell you tonight. The FISA judge was never told, never, that Hillary Clinton was paying for that phony Russian dossier, Russian intelligence lies about Donald Trump, first trying to influence an election and then using it to get a warrant to spy on an opposition candidate. The Democratic memo has not been declassified yet, and Schiff is going around telling anybody who will listen what's in it. In other words, he's leaking classified information. Now, President Trump is blasting, rightly so, Schiff on Twitter, writing earlier today, little Adam Schiff, who is desperate to run for higher office, is one of the biggest liars and leakers in Washington, right up there with Comey and Warner and Brennan and Clapper. And Adam leaves closed committee hearings to illegally leak confidential information. This should and must be stopped. I actually disagree with President Trump. Schiff is actually auditioning. He wants a job at Conspiracy TV, MSNBC. Kind of like Comey's assistant just got hired by fake news CNN. Now, another breaking news tonight. This is important. Sarah Carter reporting that Schiff is leading a media campaign along with former Obama administration officials and Democrats to attack Congressman Devin Nunes and the 4-page memo. Now, this fierce opposition is not surprising because everyone involved in this deep state effort to spy on the Trump campaign and to damage and destroy a duly elected president, as of tonight, I can promise you they are all scared out of their minds because they are being exposed. Now, here's what Democrats and these high-ranking officials, well, they don't want you to know about. That details in the Nunes memo, and here are the major revelations. We learned this Friday. Former Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe testified before Congress that without the dossier, the FISA warrant to spy on the Trump campaign, Carter Page, never would have been approved. By the way, I have sources confirming that is true tonight. And the FISA judge was never told that the dossier was bought and paid for by the Clinton campaign and the DNC. A huge omission, Mr. Schiff. And James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Sally Yates, Dana Bente, Rod Rosenstein, they're all complicit in this because they, at different points, all approved the surveillance. And the FBI then used this Yahoo News article written by Michael Isikoff about a Carter Page trip to Russia to corroborate the phony dossier. The problem with that is the source for the story for Isikoff was Christopher Steele. So the FBI never corroborated the information from two independent sources, and they presented it to the judge like it was two sources corroborating the same thing. That was never the case. Now, as it relates to Steele, he was also suspended and terminated as an FBI source for leaking to the media. And the memo also exposes how the demoted DOJ official, Bruce Orr, he maintained a close relationship with Steele. And we know that Bruce Orr had an office just 4 doors down from Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. And we know Orr's wife, Nellie, was working for Fusion GPS. Nellie was hired specifically, well, to build that Trump dossier. In other words, she was kind of paid by the Clintons, if you really look at it logically. And as the Daily Caller points out, it sure does seem like Fusion GPS was trying to buy influence in the Obama State Department. And Bruce Orr revealed that during September 2016, Steele said he was, quote, desperate that Donald Trump not get elected, was passionate about him not being president. Now, the memo also exposes how during the initial application for the FISA warrant, then the head of the FBI's counter-intel division said the corroboration of the Steele dossier was in, quote, its infancy stage. In other words, they knew they hadn't verified this. So you have an unverified, Clinton bought and paid for dossier brought before a judge. They don't tell the judge it's Clinton bought and paid for, and they don't tell the judge it wasn't verified. This is outrageous. Now, we've also found out from Fusion GPS founder Glenn Simpson, he never bothered to verify the document. So the FBI lied in that sense to the FISA court judge. They never told him the truth. They never mentioned the dossier was bought and paid for by Clinton and the DNC. They used the dossier filled with Russian lies, as we now learned in today's second memo, as a justification to spy on the Trump campaign and then an incoming president. What does that mean? That means America's powerful tools of intelligence were unlawfully weaponized in one of the biggest abuse of powers in the history of this country. And the media is ignoring it, and FISA laws were manipulated by top-ranking officials. By the way, I want to be clear. We love all you FBI special agents. We love the guys in the intelligence community, the rank and file, the people that save our lives every day and put your lives on the line. We're not talking about rank and file. What we're talking about here are the upper echelon that we're trying to undermine, first a candidate and then a duly elected president of the United States. Think about this. James Comey testified under oath. The dossier was salacious and unverified, that he told that to the incoming president. Yet Comey signed 3 FISA applications that relied heavily on the dossier even before he told Trump that it was salacious and not verified. Why would Comey do that? Now, Comey needs to be hauled right back before Congress and answer very important questions we put on the side of your screen. Now, Comey's been more than happy to tweet out his feelings every day. He's writing a book. He'll probably be a TV pundit at CNN or MSNBC any day. He's willing to talk. So, Mr. Comey, Jim, why don't you go before Congress and answer a lot of these important questions? Here's another important point. The entire Russia investigation, they say, was started because of a drunken conversation. Former Trump advisor, I knew the Trump campaign, never heard of George Papadopoulos. The president said he never heard of him, that he had at a London bar with an Australian diplomat. That was in May. Then, according to the narrative, 2 months later, when Democratic emails started leaking, Australian officials then took that information, passed it on to American intelligence agents. So apparently the threshold to launch an investigation into an American citizen through the FISA court is that low. All you need is an FBI. All they need is a drunken 4-way hearsay. Are you kidding me?
In a letter released Monday, Senators Chuck Grassley and Lindsey Graham ousted the FBI for attempting to suppress the release of new revelations about the Steele dossier. In the same letter, Grassley and Graham said that Steele penned a separate memo on the then candidate Donald Trump based on information given to him by a Hillary Clinton contact and unnamed Obama State Department official. According to the New York Post's Paul Sperry, the Senate Judiciary Committee is working to declassify intel on Steele. The Senate Judiciary Committee is also has a memo on Steele, the dossier, and the FBI, and is working to get it declassified, tweeted Sperry last week. Steele was a no-show at a London court Monday amid fallout stemming from the FISA abuse memo released last Friday. And when Fox News reached out for comment, Steele associate Chris Burrows replied, "I regret that for a number of reasons, Chris Steele is not available to speak on or off the record about this subject." So be sure to share, like, subscribe, and comment down below and tell me how you feel about this report. Well, other than that, I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.